Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on this Facebook Live. Good morning, I'm Tricia Sloma. So glad you could join us this morning. And we are coming to you from our newsroom here at WNDU on Wednesday. And on Wednesdays, we talk about our Wednesday's Child segments. You know, last week I did something really cool, and I got to share the story of a family that successfully adopted not one, but two children from foster care. If you recall, we aired the story, A Place to Call Home, and I'm going to put that up for you right now just to show you again some of the images from that special story. We heard from so many of you who were so touched to hear about the Henneke family, Amy and Kevin. They adopted two boys that were featured in our Wednesday's Child segment. Those are her two older boys. That's her older daughter who was adopted from Ukraine. But once those kids moved out of the house, she and Kevin, now married 10 years, had decided that they wanted to adopt from foster care. So they checked out our stories and they saw our stories, our Wednesday's Child stories, and they said what a difference it made to them. They were able to meet children from the Indiana waiting list, and that is the Indiana Adoption Services program. And when they watched our Wednesday's Child story, they got to meet Seth. And Seth was someone that we featured back in 2021. And we have some images of him from that story. You can see it was a Grant Me Hope story. Our partners at Grant Me Hope, for a while, they were telling some of the stories in Indiana, and he was one of those kids. He was just a little boy at that time. And then when they met him, they were like, oh yeah, we want to meet this kid. And then he was adopted in 2022. And so then look at him now. I mean, this is Seth, and he's just an incredible kid. He is now 18 years old. He goes to school still, and he would like to have a job working on cars. So Seth is quite the young man, and he said it's just amazing the difference that it's made being adopted into a family like the Hennekes. And then the family was like, you know what, we're not done. We want another child to add to our family. And that's exactly what they did. So they went back and they started looking at our stories. And this was a story that we ran just last fall, 2023. We met Daniel. He goes by Danny now. And the Hennekes said, yeah, I think this would be a good fit. Now, both of these boys have special needs and they have a lot of the same interests. These kids are brilliant, but they just maybe need a little extra help in some areas. Here's Danny now. He is very relieved to be adopted. And one of the favorite things he mentioned to me that he loves about being in the Henneke family is his relationship with his older brother. Danny is 16, and again, we've got Seth in this family who's 18, and they get along great. Now, it's not easy. This isn't a perfect, family. What family is? She said it is difficult. They have their tough days, but overall, she knows that, and Kevin knows that this is something that's changed their lives forever, and it's changed the lives of those boys. They're very active in Special Olympics, and you saw their medals around their neck. So it's just so encouraging. And again, we heard from so many of you who loved our story. It's my privilege to be able to bring that to you. A Place to Call Home is the name of our series that we share when kids are successfully adopted from our Wednesday's Child segment. We know that there are 30 kids who have been featured in our Wednesday's Child segments who have now found their forever homes. So we take that as just a huge success. That's just in the state of Indiana. Remember, we have our partners of Grant Me Hope there in Michigan. And we aren't always able to get all of the detailed numbers from Michigan, especially if we run it as a Wednesday's Child, because Grant Me Hope is the video service that helps provide the stories out of Michigan. That's the only way I'm going to be able to show those kids there in Michigan. So I have a kid this week. In fact, Leela is a sweet young girl. Look at her. She is, well, I'm going to ignore the fact that she has a scary snake around her neck. I love it when they send these videos. I can't even hardly watch some of them because of the snakes and the lizards, but I'll get through it. Leela is just an incredible young woman. She is a track star. She runs the 100 and the 200. And, interestingly enough, those were the two short track races that I ran when I was in high school, I just wasn't that fast. So I didn't stick with track. I ended up staying with basketball. But Leela, she's the track star. It's something that she's interested in and she's going to be staying with. Now she wants to get into cosmetology when she grows up. She would love to work at a salon or a spa someday. Now, we aired Leela's story this morning on 16 Morning News Now. You can tune in to watch her story tonight just before 6. So we run these stories on our programming here at WNDU, but guess what? You can always find these stories. They're available on our website, WNDU.com. This is how you can share the stories. A lot of times, it's a story that we've run on Channel 16, but it's when it's been in Facebook or otherwise that it gets shared. And when it's shared, maybe that's where someone from around the country is able to pick up on this story and say, hey, maybe that's a kid that I could put in my family. We talked to the Hennickes about, you know, the special calling that they felt like it was. They were empty nesters, and they said the house was pretty darn quiet. So they decided that maybe it was time to fill those empty bedrooms and help these kids. A lot of these kids, they're only a couple years from moving out, and maybe they are joining the military, maybe they're going to college, or as you heard in the story of the Hennickes, Seth is going to be hopefully on his own soon and maybe have a job in working on cars. So you know what, that's the thing. If you feel like this is your calling and you want to maybe become a foster parent and then maybe work towards adoption from foster care, it is a special calling, but you are not alone. And that's something else that the Hennickes mentioned. They were not alone in the process at all. And adopting 2 boys with special needs is a huge task, but you're not alone. And they mentioned that they have disability services provided by the state, that you can actually have caseworkers come to your home, help give programming and services and you know, different accommodations that maybe the kids need in school, or maybe just something that they need extra counseling or therapy that they feel could be helpful at your home. And it's made all the difference. So just know that you're not alone, that there are services available and programming available through both Indiana and in Michigan if you want to adopt from foster care. So this is what we do here on Wednesdays. We help share the story, get a little bit more spotlight on these kids. It is so special to be able to share our Wednesdays Child. Again, I'm Tricia Sloma, and our Wednesdays Child will run tonight just before 6. It's pretty cool that we're able to share these stories, and we just appreciate the help from all of the Indiana DCS and also Michigan Department of Child Services for helping us with our Wednesdays Child segments. Have a great Wednesday, everyone. Do check out our stories at WNDU.com.